Wow, welcome to the second to last recording of me reading Shelly. This is crazy. Looks like Hope's been using the mic again without permission. Okay, so we're going to read chapter 18 and 19 today. We're doubling up, so if you like this video, subscribe so you don't miss the final chapter. And let's get to it. Chapter 18, Mute. Their luggage laid on the floor, zipped closed, and ready to transport all their items back to Utah. Neither had left the room during the hour spent packing, changing, and in Savannah's case, putting on makeup. Neither had heard any noises to suspect that their mother had woken up, but when they opened the door and descended the staircase, they saw her sitting on one of the white kitchen island chairs, clutching a glass of orange juice and drilling her eyes into her laptop screen. Upon descent, Savannah could not stop a wheel from hitting the railing, nor Shelly from the duffel bag hitting her sternum and forcing an oof out of her. Deborah did not twist or turn. She did not kick off her slippers and rush over in her pajamas to heroically assist the girls. The only thing that moved were her fingers, typing. Placing their luggage by the counter, they paused for breath and instinctively waited for a type of motherly response, for her to permit them to leave, or talk about mending their relationships, or apologize. She didn't move. In one slight glance, Shelly asked Savannah a question. Say something or stay silent. Without taking the time to process the face Savannah made, Shelly turned to her mother. Hey, Mom, if you wanted to, we could still do some of the things on your list before our flight leaves. To no one's surprise, their mom kept her back facing them, scrolling through documents. Did you hear me? Shelly asked. Stifling seconds passed. Why did it feel as though her entire body were restrained to stand in that one spot and wait endlessly for an answer? When Deborah shifted to the side and turned to face her daughters, her face was relaxed. It did not give off a pleasant appearance. This was not the type of relaxed of a person returned from a day at the spa. Rather, it was the type of relaxed of a person who stopped giving any effort in life. One might call it lazy, another might say inert. Either way, the hurt their mother felt displayed in her hardened eyes. No offense, Shelly, but I don't want to do anything with either of you girls. You missed church, and all the other activities have been ruined for me. Deborah went back to staring at her laptop and murmured, I don't think I could enjoy them, even if I tried. As if accepting this, Savannah began to turn away from their mom and toward the couch. Shelly spoke up again. Well, we want to do something with you. Shelly thought she wanted to, at least. Obligation and desire were difficult to distinguish between during conflict. Obviously, it couldn't take too long, but we could go to the park, or maybe the mall, or... Fine. Deborah closed a document and opened up an email. If I can finish some of my work in the next hour, I'll take you both to the park. Just know I'm not going to be in a good mood for it. Shelly raised her eyebrows. Even without her mother looking, she tried to convey that she understood. She nodded her head, saying, That's okay. Just let us know when you're ready. As the sisters walked to the couch, Savannah whispered under her breath, It's not like we expected her to be in a good mood. Instead of responding, Shelly said a silent prayer that her mother hadn't heard that. For an hour, Deborah continued to work. Then she stood and walked up to her bedroom. Not a glance or word went to either of her daughters, and Shelly didn't speak up. She had done enough daring for the morning. She'd wait. Eventually, time would provide the answers to her wonderings. Was her mom getting ready to go? Did she change her mind about the park? Was she waiting on the girls for something? If so, her mother did not say anything about it. During Deborah's descent down the staircase, Shelly noticed her mom's outfit change. Pants and a plain color t-shirt. A step closer to the park, but apparently not the final step, as Deborah returned to her spot at the kitchen counter. The clacking sound of the keyboard resumed its constant background noise. The girls resumed scrolling on their phones. After another hour disappeared, Shelly could feel an itch at the back of her neck. It was 10 a.m. Their flight left at 3 p.m. They need to leave for the airport in about 2 hours. If they didn't leave by then, they might miss their flight. Their mother might want exactly that. Scooching closer to Savannah, Shelly tapped her sister's shoulder and leaned toward her. Should I say something to Mom? If we don't leave soon, we won't get to go to the park. So? Shelly, it's not like anyone is going to enjoy a trip to the park together. Not this way. Shelly backed up. I feel bad leaving Mom like this. I did want to do stuff with her. But she went on a date instead of spending time with us. And we're leaving our trip early, and she already had the date planned, and she didn't know we were coming. Shelly backed up one more time, pressing into the corner of the couch. I still think we should leave. I just want to do something for her before we go. Savannah looked disappointed, and Shelly couldn't understand why. Usually her sister's frown erred on the side of annoyance, not disappointment. Alone in the decision and uncertain about too many factors, Shelly relied upon her instinct and tried to resuscitate their plans. Hey, Mom, do you know how much longer you'll be? We have to leave for the airport in 2 hours. As if Shelly had walked over and tipped a cup of coffee all over Deborah, she yelled, Well, that's not my problem, is it? You girls chose to leave early, and if you don't get to go to the park, then that's on you. The keyboard filled the silence. All the words, thoughts, and feelings numbed as Shelly listened to the clack, clack, clack. She gripped her legs close to her, giving her hands something to do as she tried to ignore the itch spreading across her body. The longer she tried to ignore the itch, the less she remembered why. The more she reasoned that she should scratch her skin. She could control it this time. She could avoid hurting her skin. She could make the itch go away. Forget the scabs. Her nails dug into the skin behind her neck. After a few minutes, Deborah spoke in a quieter, yet just as stern, voice. I have to send one more email and then we can go. Shelly brought her hand down. Her nail beds were blood red. A swoosh sounded as the email sent, and Deborah stood up and signaled her daughters to gather their things and leave. As they exited the apartment, all three women held their breath, unprepared for the ill-favored activity they had all consigned themselves to. None felt they could escape. Like a 6-year-old girl regretting her choice to go down the biggest slide at the water park, each knew they must go on, as the lifeguard would not allow them back up. The lifeguard, in Shelly's case, would be the years of living in a pattern of trying to please the displeased. It was this that insisted you cannot climb up, you must go down. And down she went. For convenience's sake, they found an Uber and avoided the ultimate time waster in the city, parking. Once they were out of the Uber and walking in Central Park, they had an hour and a half left until the girls needed to go to the airport. 1 hour if they were going to give themselves a safety net for traffic and double-checking they had packed everything. Central Park reminded Shelly of Friends. She imagined it reminded her sister and mother of it, too. The park's grass still held most of its green. While some of the trees had orange and yellow leaves, others hadn't changed yet, and some were evergreen, their pines bound to one color forever. Of all the things fighting for her focus, Shelly couldn't decide which caught her attention the most. The amount of park, people, or pigeons. No, people. They caught her attention the most. But the pigeons were an excellent contender. The wide concrete path gave enough room for at least 10 people to walk next to each other, yet the three of them struggled to stick together. Deborah strode ahead like a true Olympic fast walker, and Savannah fell behind like she had medical boots on both legs. Trying to maintain a sense of togetherness, Shelly walked in between them. She definitely didn't want to leave Savannah behind, and she definitely didn't want to lose sight of their mom. They turned a couple of corners with this formation. It only worsened each time Savannah stopped to take a selfie in front of a statue or a squirrel. At least Deborah would pause and wait for her for the first few seconds. Then she'd usher them on. Come on, girls. There's a lot to see and not a lot of time, but you know that. Picking up her pace, Shelly fell in line with her mother. Temporarily. What about Savannah? Come on, Savannah, Deborah shouted over her shoulder. Keep up. The response didn't match what Shelly tried to elicit. To expect much more did not make logical sense, but she failed to understand why she couldn't expect more from her mother. It frustrated her. Shelly kept believing in illogical things. This trip going well with her mother, the opportunity to heal past family wounds, her mother walking at a pace her sister could keep up with, her sister bothering to try to keep up, anyone putting in any effort that would take the responsibility of fixing the family off of Shelly before the pressure flattened her out completely. Mom! Shelly's voice raised, but she monitored it the best she could. Yelling would be like taking a bat to a broken down car. Damaging it more would complicate the repair process. I think Savannah just wants to enjoy seeing the park, take pictures and stuff. We don't have time for that anymore. Deborah walked away, and Shelly turned to Savannah, who slowly came up. Hey, let's try to keep up with Mom, Shelly said, rolling her eyes and slouching. Typically confident, cheerleader Savannah was slouching as she said, Shelly, I can't keep up with Mom. I'm not trying to make things harder on you, but my period started this morning, and we didn't eat breakfast. I'm barely keeping the pace I'm going now. Oh, Shelly's concern about her mother had made her neglect her sister, the person who had stuck by her side the entire trip. Yet, despite her sister's recent loyalty, it hadn't taken long for Shelly to revert to the pre-made image she had of Savannah. Snobby, uncaring, selfish. She should have asked about what was going on sooner. I'm sorry, Savannah, Are you girls coming? The shout came from 20 yards away. Shelly dropped her face down to her brown heads. She didn't want to see how many people were turning to look at them. As she ignored everything around her, a thought came to mind. She wasn't the only one who should have noticed her sister's condition. In fact, if anyone should have noticed, it should have been their mom. For the first time in a while, Shelly let her sadness turn into the emotion she feared the most growing up. Anger. Unathletic but determined, she crossed those 20 yards in seconds. There were a couple of people she needed to swerve around, but aside from those 2 instances, she headed in a direct line for her mom. Before she spoke, she took a breath in. Then she let it out. And Deborah spoke. You know, for 2 girls who said they wanted to do something for their mom, there's been a lot of mom being left alone. You two could at least walk with me. Mom, I'm not trying to leave Savannah behind. She doesn't feel good. Deborah glanced over Shelly's shoulder, where Savannah continued her slow saunter over. Before her mother could object or invalidate, Shelly continued. She started her period this morning and didn't get anything to eat before we left. Deborah's scowl softened. Well, I don't know why she didn't feed herself, but I'm sorry. I didn't know that. As much as Shelly wanted to say it was okay, it didn't feel okay. The apology didn't feel nice or thoughtful. It seemed arrogant. Like her mother held herself higher than the need to notice the condition of other people. Shelly kept trying to do everything she could to make the relationship with her mom work, but no matter what, it did not work. She could keep trying, because there was always something more she could do, but that wasn't the point, was it? She shouldn't have to do everything in the relationship to know when to call it quits. She didn't want to give up on her mom. She could never replace the woman who used to go to her high school art shows, who would listen to her boy drama, who was supposed to be there for her. But the trip had died. She could not resurrect it. The relationship with her mom would not get fixed in New York City. Maybe she couldn't give up the idea that it would be okay one day, but for now, she needed to step away. As Savannah joined them, Shelly looked into her mom's pale blue eyes. We should go. It's time to catch our flight. Deborah released a deep, guttural exhale. Savannah, who appeared paler than a few minutes before, stood as still as a nutcracker. I'm sorry, Mom, Shelly said. We're sorry. We're sorry it didn't work out. We really wanted it to. Deborah laughed. Really? Didn't seem like that to me. You didn't even bother giving me a chance to talk to you and work it out. What? What do you mean? Why do you keep saying that? We did try. Over and over we've tried. All I do is try. Even after you yelled at me and ridiculed me for not acting the exact way you wanted, and after you told me I need to get in shape, I came to you last night and offered to talk. We're at the park! She threw her hands up in the air, gesturing to everything around her, no longer caring if people looked. I tried. If that's not good enough, then I don't know what else to do. But I am sorry. I really wanted things to work out. Deborah faced them, mascara smudges beneath her eyes, a frown sculpted onto her face. I don't believe you, and I don't care. No one deserves this treatment, from their daughters of all people. Look, I messed up too. I can see you're hurt. I'm more than, but we're not going to fix anything. Shelly spoke over her mother, bringing her to silence. Not like this, because I'm hurt too. Wiping tears from her eyes, Shelly tried to relax her tight throat. Everything in her wanted to wail, but she needed to keep speaking. I think I need some space, at least a week. I'll text you when I'm ready to talk. Fine. Get your own Uber. I'm going to stay at the park. Deborah turned from her daughters. Put in the simplest way, it didn't feel good. Guilt and sorrow grasped her heart and turned her stomach as she watched her mother walk away, further down the line of trees. Before it was too late, Shelly made one last sacrifice for the relationship, acted as selfishly brave as she could. I love you, she said. Her mother did not say anything. Already a few steps in the opposite direction, Savannah frowned. Come on, Shelly. At their mother's apartment, the sisters gathered their luggage without acknowledging one another. They walked out, and after the door shut, they heard a dense click that would echo throughout the rest of their lives. In the lobby, Victor greeted them with a good morning and an invitation to sit on the couches while they waited for their ride. When Shelly realized their mother would not be coming back to her place for a while, she sunk into the couches and breathed. Apparently she hadn't done that in a while, because the flood of air loosened up all the tension she held in her joints. Her sister sat up straight, shooting pistols into her phone as she typed out a message. It seemed as if nothing could penetrate her concentration, but Shelly wondered if Savannah might be lashing out at their mom over text. They already had a mountain of ruin to mend. Are you texting Maxwell? Shelly asked. Do you have an ETA? No, but Maxwell should be here soon. Nice. So, who are you talking to? Brandon. Her brother? A tingle danced in Shelly's fingers, and she wished her phone were in her hands. Our Brandon? What? But I thought he didn't have technology at his monastery. He didn't, but he left, 2 days ago. Shelly waited for more information, but Savannah continued to type. Savannah, that's crazy. Is he coming back to the U.S.? Where's he at? Is he here? No, but I'm surprised you didn't know. He got a temporary phone, and he's been staying with a friend he made there. He'll be flying back to New York in a week. I'm giving him the 411 on the mom situation, so he knows what he's headed into. He's not going to live with her, is he? Shelly said. Probably not. I think even he knows that's a mistake. But he wants to be there for her and see what he can do to help. Whatever floats his boat. Mom's nicest to him anyway. Even so, this trip had changed a lot about their family dynamic. Can I have his number? Shelly said. Sure, he's running out of international messages, but I'll send it to you. Despite Savannah informing Brandon of the situation, Shelly thought she would tell her brother her own thoughts. Different perspectives might paint a better picture for him, and Shelly was all for displaying the best painting. Rushing to finish before Maxwell called Savannah and let them know he had arrived, Shelly typed, Brandon, Savannah told me that you left the monastery. How come? Tell me all about it when you're back in New York. I've missed you. Sav also says she told you about Mom. Things really fell apart. I don't know if she told you everything, like stuff for when Mom and I moved to New York, but we'll have to talk about that too when you're back. I've got a lot to tell you and something I want to ask. Mom's furious, so be safe. Glad you'll have your own place. Make sure Arya knows we tried. Hopefully you can help Mom, but don't hurt yourself in the process. Okay, this was a lot. I love you. Call me when you're home. Shelly. Momentarily, after she sent the messages, the sun shifted and the city glistened. Its rays highlighted the silver towers, the dirty sidewalks, and the half-clean cars, some of which had likely gone through the weekly wash earlier that day. Then, Savannah placed her hand on Shelly's back and told her that Maxwell had arrived. They left. In the car, Shelly received a response from Brandon. Shelly, thanks for the text. It's not too long. I'm not too excited to go into all the drama, but I'll see what I can do for Mom. Gotta do my own life, too. Running out of inter-messages. I'll call you. Love you. End of chapter 18, but... Chapter 19. Exiting. With her back turned to her daughters, Deborah's face softened and her eyes watered. I love you, Shelly said. Deborah cried. End of chapter. Well, we have one chapter left, and then we'll be done with Shelly. So if you liked the video, like the video, subscribe. If you want to see more content, soon I'll be reading my blog posts again, and those are a lot more interactive. I love hearing your guys' thoughts in the comments on those. Y'all are insightful. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for tuning in. Bye!